Okay, Liz, I was just overhearing you on a conversation with a client that you were talking to about getting pre-approved for a loan. And I'm listening to her talk. She's a nurse, and she was saying that she makes over $100 an hour,
Yeah.
but she could only qualify for a $3,400 payment.
Well, let's talk about the distinction between qualifying and affording. So part of our conversation is always like, what is your ideal monthly house payment? And she said, I can afford $3,400 a month.
And she was saying, like, I can't go over that.
Right. Like that was like the max that she could do. Now, qualifying wise is totally different because what she can qualify for is likely very much higher than what she says she can afford.
And in that process, you were asking what other debt did she have? And she had about $2,000 worth of other obligations that she had each month. But that was all that she had.
Right.
And I'm listening to this and I'm thinking, you're a nurse. You're making over $100 an hour. And you have been working consistently getting overtime for the past 20 years. And nurses, like in that industry, they usually typically work quite a bit of overtime. So I'm making a guess here, but I'm guessing that she probably makes an additional $50,000 to $100,000 in overtime,
Yeah, probably.
where she's already making over $200,000 a year
Right.
just on her base pay.
Right. Yeah.
And she's saying that she feels like she can only afford a $3,400 payment. So like I'm listening to this and I'm doing the math and I'm like, what is like,
What's going on here?
what's the disconnect here? Like,
Right.
like how do you run into this situation where people feel like they don't make enough money to buy a house?
Yeah, I definitely think there's a psychology around money. You know, when we pre-approve somebody to buy a house, we qualify them based off of their gross income. So that's before taxes. But like we all know, if the take-home pay is not as much as like what your per hour or salary is, because there's taxes, and if you contribute to a 401k or things like that, like things get taken out, the health insurance, you know, there's stuff that comes out. So your take home pay is not as much as your gross income, but we can qualify off of the gross income before all of that's taken out. So I think it's really important to have an idea of what your budget is and what the goal budget is. And we always try to really be really considerate of that because I know just because you can qualify off of your gross income for an $8,000 a month house payment doesn't mean that's really what you can afford to make.
And that may not be a wise decision.
But I think, and I think affordability is sort of, it's subjective, right? It's like I don't know what her other bills are. I don't know if she's got her kids in competitive cheer and travel baseball and piano lessons and like all of those things, you know? And so I can't really make a judgment call on like what she can afford. But I also think that sometimes I think that money is a mindset, and that a lot of times, like when we were buying our houses.
And I will be the first one to admit, like, this is the third home that we've lived in. And all three times that we have purchased a house, like I was thinking, like, we can't afford this.
I had to talk you. I had to
100%. You had 100%. You had to talk me into it every single time. Because every single time I'm like, the math, it doesn't work for me mathematically. I mean, maybe it did, but it's like more than I wanted to.
Scary.
And there's a little bit of like, man, okay, it's a significant amount of your monthly payment, right?
Cost us an extra $1,000 a month in a house payment. Like that is significant. And I'm not saying it's not scary. I think when I try to talk to people about it, and I think this is probably what I said to you too, is okay, for an extra $12,000 a year, at the end of the year, how much do we have left over? How much have been having left over? What if we just took some of that and got into a house that like had an extra bedroom, like that kind of a thing. So it's been a blessing, but there's definitely like a anxiety around like, this is what I know I can do. This is what I'm comfortable with. For her right now, her rent payment's $3,300 a month. She's tired of, I don't want to say wasting money because you have to live somewhere, but the rates are high. Well, when you're renting, your interest rate's 100% because
Yeah, she did realize that. I mean, she did recognize that, like, by renting, she was paying $3,300 a month to somebody else to pay a house payment, and that she had zero return on that. I don't want to call it an investment because it's not an investment, but that obligation, that expense. Mm-hmm. Like $3,300 every month was just going away to nothing. Like, she'll never recoup every month that rental payment of $3,300 a month.
Right.
Where if she was like putting it towards a house, like she's paying down equity with each payment, and over time she's building equity in the home.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, it's costing her an extra $1,000 a month. But if you think of it from the standpoint, like, I'm already spending $3,300. I'm already.
Well, let's go back up
because
you're saying let's go back up. I think there was a part missed there when you say that she's spending an extra $1,000 a month, and I think you're coming up with that figure based off of the conversation in the minimum house payment that she that she thought she could purchase.
Right, you're right.
I should say the minimum house payment that she thought like she couldn't get into a home for less than like $650,000.
Right,
was like the bare minimum, and that would cost an extra $1,000 a month in order for her to get into a $650,000.
Right. So I was able to calculate, okay, if this is your budget, this is how much money you have for down payment. This is what that looks like in a purchase price. Well, there's nothing where she lives at that purchase price. So she said, I was thinking more about the $600,000 range. So then I did the math on that. Like, okay, let's just see what that payment looks like. And that payment was an extra $1,000 from what her ideal house payment was. And she was like, oh, that's way too much.
But I'm going crazy because she's making probably close to $300,000 a year. She's making at least $250,000. At least $250,000.
That's if like just a smidge of
if she's overtime. Barely working much overtime at all. But if she's working a significant amount of overtime, she is making almost $300,000 a year. And I'm just thinking, like, again, in my mind, I'm thinking, you could probably afford like $1 million plus home.
Right. On her base salary, she was about $20,000 a month. And you're thinking, okay, even after taxes come out of that, even if they take half of that in taxes, the house payment is, if we're looking at a $4,500 a month house payment, like, I don't know. I get what you're saying. I get why you were like, oh my gosh, that's so crazy. This is the advice that I ultimately gave to her and that I will give to you if you're wanting to buy a house, is practice making the house payment. In her case, she's paying $3,300 in rent. If her house payment's going to be $1,000 more a month, do you have $1,000 more a month? What does that look like? Because you're already spending $3,300. What if I just dumped another $1,000 into like a savings account? And then you start practicing making that house payment. You pay your rent, put the difference in a savings account, probably a savings account the rest of your money is not in, so it feels like a bill. You could even set up auto transfer to have it automatically go into some online bank with a high yield savings account, and then practice making your house payment, that higher house payment. See what it feels like in your budget to have this house payment going out every month.
Well, and the nice thing with that is if she really can't afford more than the $3,400 a month.
Now she knows.
She's put that money into it. She can still withdraw from that. I mean, she can still use that if she has to, but she can also like see like, well, actually, this
it wasn't that big of a deal.
This isn't hurting. Like I can do this. Like now I've done this for several months and I've got a couple grand in that savings account and I have been able to do it.
Right.
I haven't had to dip into that account at all.
Right. And bonus, you're now saving some more money to either put towards buying the house or, I don't know, when
helping
you move
out with closing costs.
Yeah, closing costs. When you move into a house, like there's expenses. You should probably hire a moving company maybe to help you do that, unless you have lots of friends. who are willing to help. But like you'll move in, you'll want to paint, you'll maybe need to buy a dining room table. Like there's just things that it just costs money to move into a house. It's very rarely are you just going to have everything you need or want to get into a house. So it's like that added bonus to it. But I think like my overall point is practice making the house payment, because then you'll know there's a safety net to it. Like if it's not your obligated payment right now, then you'll know if it doesn't work for you.
Yeah. And the other thing that I think is also important here is you think that you might not be able to afford it. And I get like some people, and I think she even said this, like she doesn't want to waste your time in doing this, but like, I think like, let's just send over the information. Let's still get you pre-approved based on the information. And let's just see what you can or can't afford. There's no obligation on your end, but then you know exactly your numbers. And based off of the numbers and the information that you provide, okay, maybe we do run those numbers, and maybe $3,400 is a stretch.
Right.
But maybe based on the numbers, like maybe your max qualifying is $6,000 or $7,000.
Right. And not that we want you to be at your max. Like I don't want that for my clients either. I don't want them to feel house poor or strapped or whatever, but at least they know.
Yeah. And then I think it goes back to the point of like you saying like, and I think it's great advice, like practice making your mortgage payment. Like what if they, like in this situation, let's say that she could qualify for a $6,000 house payment. I'm not saying she can, I don't know without running the numbers, but let's just say that like practice making a $6,000 a month house payment.
Right.
Like you don't have to hit 6,000. I mean, you could do maybe 4,500, but practice the 6,000.
Right.
We're saying that you can qualify for this.
Right.
Just practice it.
What does that feel like? Yeah.
And then if you can't do that, like let's say you do have to dip into it and you consistently have to dip in, and let's say it's like kind of works out to be around like you can actually do like a $5,000 payment. So you qualify for 6,000, but you with your rental at 34, and then you're paying in that extra to meet that 6,000, and you're feeling in going in every month, and you're having to pull out an extra $1,000. Okay, so now you know, like, okay, my max that I can do is 5,000. Well, I don't want to do that, but maybe, okay, I might not be at 34 like I thought I was. Maybe really the more comfortable is around 4,000 or 42.
Right.
Because I still didn't have a cushion. I'm still not going to my max at the 5,000 that I'm seeing that I can't
save money for other things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then you're in a house that you're building equity in every month, as opposed to just throwing away that $3,400 a month.
Yeah. I think important to know, like, I think in her case, she did say she didn't want to waste our time. Like, this is part of our job. Like, of course, I would love for her to get qualified and then find a house and buy it in the next 30 days. That would be amazing. But it's also, this is part of the job. Like I always say to people, like, you can't hit the target if you don't know where to aim. And so let me just help you create a target so you know what it is that you should be doing and saving for. And I had a gal that took my advice. So proud of her. She's like one of my friend's young adult daughters. And I gave her that advice of saving like $3,000 a month for your house payment. And she lives with her mom. And so she doesn't have a rent payment. So she's just been paying rent into a savings account. And she has like $50,000. Like, I'm so proud of her.
That's pretty amazing.
I'm like, oh my gosh, you listened to me? That's so amazing. So,
but now she knows that she can make a $3,000 a month house payment.
Not a big deal.
And she's got $50,000 to go towards a down payment.
I know, yeah. And so there was a house that she wanted to put an offer in at. And so when we were going through the numbers and I was like, okay, this is what the house payment's going to be. She's like, oh, okay. Like, not a big deal.
No big deal.
Yeah. I think the payment actually was $3,200. And she's like, oh, okay. Yeah. I've been practicing 3,000, like you said. And so I don't know, extra $200, probably not that big a deal. I was like, you're amazing. I love you so much. So anyway, I think it works. Like, practice making your house payment. I just think it's the way to go. So if you're not ready to make a house payment yet and you think I'm going to buy in a year, then start now. Start practicing find out what is the house payment going to be. Talk to a loan officer. Don't do like if you go on Zillow or something, they'll tell you what the payment looks like. It's usually wrong. So I wouldn't go off of that. I think a really simple conversation with a loan officer that's not necessarily a waste of time. So I wouldn't think, I don't want to waste anybody's time. We can help you identify taxes, insurance, and mortgage insurance. That's really what you need. And that's why Zillow is not right.
What I think would be a waste of time is not getting pre-qualified.
Right.
Going out shopping.
Yeah.
Finding a house that you fall in love with.
Yeah. And then not.
And then in having everybody involved, you've spent all this time.
Yeah.
You've worked with a real estate agent. You've spent a lot of time going into different houses with them. And then you find this dream home that you fall in love with.
Yeah.
And you find out there's no way you can afford it.
Right. Yeah. You just have no idea.
To me, that is a waste of time.
Right.
If you are looking and you're serious about buying a house, your first step should be talking to a loan agent and getting pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. So what's the difference between pre-qualification and pre-approved?
Yeah, so pre-qualification is kind of like a conversation. So I would say the talk I had with this nurse today was kind of a pre-qual. I know what her expenses are. I know how much she makes. I know how much she has in savings. But I haven't looked at pay stubs or verified in a bank account that she has the money. She's just told me about her car payment and another expense that she has. So that's a pre-qual. Essentially, I think she could buy a house right now. I don't know for sure. A pre-approval is there's an application that you fill out. We look at your credit. I know people are nervous about a hard credit pull. It's not really that big of a deal. I don't know who in everybody's mind has told them a hard credit pull is a terrible thing. It's not. We can do what's called a soft credit pull, but it's not accurate. So it's sort of
still kind of a guess.
Still kind of a guess. So we do a credit. We look at the credit. So we look at the score. We look at the debts. We look at their income, pay stubs and W-2s and overtime. And if you're self-employed, there's tax returns. So we calculate it. We basically underwrite the file on it, or underwrite it so that we can really you can buy this house. If you find a house at this price, you can buy it.
You can afford it.
Need
you know that you can afford it.
Now we just need an address and an appraisal. But otherwise, everything looks good. We've verified it.
Anything else or any other advice that you could give to somebody that is thinking about buying a house, worried that they might not have the income to qualify? I mean, we've talked about a lot of things. Just move forward with getting pre-approved.
I think you don't know what you don't know. So don't make assumptions. Don't disqualify yourself by thinking, I can't buy a house. My credit's too low, or I don't make enough money. That might be true, but you don't know. I mean, it's a little bit more complicated than what you might think or guess. And maybe there's a way around some of this stuff too, So it's it's worth having a conversation with a loan officer to just come up with a plan. Because like I said, if you don't have a target, you don't know where your target is, you don't know where to aim. You're just kind of all over the place. But if you know your numbers, you will find the thing you're looking for, because it'll be in, that reticular activator. When you want to buy a red car, all of a sudden.
Explain what a reticular activator is, because I think most people don't know.
It's I don't exactly know what it is, but I think it's something in your mind where you start to recognize the thing that you're focused on. So we just helped our daughter buy a car, and it was a Subaru Crosstrek. And I was I never see those on the road. Now they're everywhere. I see them everywhere. And so
that's your reticular activator at work. And I think that has always been the best example to me. You're in the process of either buying a car or you're thinking about buying a car, and the reticular activator is that thing in the back of your brain that recognizes things that now are topical to you.
Right. You just notice it. So I think if you're qualified for a $600,000 house, you're going to see a $600,000 house everywhere. It's always going to come up. It's going to be the first thing that you notice when you if you hop on Facebook and there's like those, they have the ads that like the internet knows what you're looking for kind of thing. And I think you'll notice it, or if somebody has a house coming up and you will just notice it. Like you will find the thing. I've had so many people that get pre-approved and they think I'm not going to buy for 6 months, but they know their numbers. And then 30 days later, they're moving into a house. So it's just kind of funny because they call it the law of attraction. And I think there is an element of that, but I think a lot of it is that reticular activator of like, it's the law of recognition really. So I don't know. I think it's worth knowing your numbers. And if it's not for a year, then that's also okay. It doesn't have to be like, for me, there's no pressure. I'm going to check in with you and I'm going to follow up. And I would love for you to follow me on Instagram at Lone Lady Liz, but I'm not going to hound you. And so why not just figure out what you can do?
Yeah, no pressure.
And there's no cost. I don't charge for like the credit report or anything. Usually those are $100. So
or more. In some cases
depends.
they can be, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway.
Yeah, no, thanks for the chat. And I just wanted to hop on because I was I'm listening to this. I'm like, there's just no way this lady she can afford more.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know the big picture. I don't know everything, but based on the numbers of what she's telling us, yeah, she can afford much more than she thinks she can afford.
Yeah.
And it might just go back to like your strategy of just practice making that payment.
Yeah.
Like if you don't think, and I think this might be a good conversation to have with them. Like, okay, what is the home that you think that would work for you? Like what is it going to cost for a house that you would comfortably live in?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's $800,000. Like I think for California, reasonable town, like I'm not talking like San Francisco, I'm not talking Stockton, where price differences are drastically different. I'm just kind of talking like a nice home. Like I think you can get into a home for $800,000.
Mm-hmm.
Like what's that going to cost that individual? And then, okay, it's going to cost me, that might be closer to $6,000 a month. Okay, let's just start practicing that payment.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't hurt anything.
I think it's worth it. Yeah.
It's worth a shot. But no, like just, okay, the home that I would want to live in is going to cost me $900,000. What's the payment on that? Payment's X.
Okay. Start practicing.
Start practicing that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good advice.
All right, Liz. So I know you talked about your Instagram, Lone Lady Liz at Instagram. So that's one place to follow. And you could always, if they want to reach out, they could DM you on that. But how else can they get a hold of you? Yeah.
So I'm Lone Lady Liz on Instagram, TikTok, Liz Reese on Facebook. And I assume the show notes will have some contact information, but
typically we'll have your phone number.
Yeah, I'm licensed in California and Utah. I'm working on Idaho right now, but I have connections all over the place. So if you have any questions, like please, I'm happy to help.
So reach out, follow her.
209-640-1710 is my number. And but any of those websites, actually, if you're on Instagram, there's a link in my bio to book a time on my calendar. So, and we could probably put that in the show notes too as a link to my calendar.
Okay. So check that out. Hit her up and let's get you pre-approved for a house.
Yeah, that's right.
That'd be awesome. Thanks so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.